Hello, this is GCSE Business Studies for AQA, and this is Unit 1, and we're going to be looking at describing what a business is, explaining why people set up businesses, and describing what social enterprises are. So what is a business? So there are so many different types of businesses out there that we have to have quite a loose definition for this. So I would describe it as any organisation that takes inputs and transforms them into outputs, and I'll show you a diagram of that in a second, but your AQA textbook describes them as organisations that take risk to earn a reward. And later on in the course, you look at what those possible different rewards could be, because a lot of people initially just think profit, but that's not necessarily the business's key aim. It depends upon what type of business it is. So right in the middle, we've got a business, and they take inputs and they turn them into outputs. So some of those inputs might be raw materials needed to create the items. You need people to do it. You need employees. You might need machinery as well. And then you might need to take you definitely need an idea of what you're doing in the organisation. And that's really what entrepreneurs a lot of the time provide. And then you have different areas of businesses as well, and different ways that they transform all of these inputs. So you might have the marketing, so how you get the product to appeal to the customer and how you actually get customers to want to buy it. Or sometimes even just consume it without paying for it. We have finance as well. Lots of businesses are to do with money. Most organisations will have a financial element because they've got to pay for their resources, and they're going to receive income as well in the form of revenue and hopefully make profit. We've got the people element. We've got to organise our employees, and we've also got the operations element, so the actual how do we physically make these products or services. And the outputs could be goods, actual tangible products, services, and I'll go into a definition of that later, or it can be waste as well. Obviously, we'd want to minimise waste. So different types of businesses. This isn't a business diagram, I should have put table there, but we have private sector businesses that are run by private individuals, just meaning it's not run by the government. So ASDA, there's so many examples out there, but I've just picked a few examples. Public sector businesses, this is my local council, Blackburn with Darwen Borough Council. So this is run and financed by the government or local authorities. We have small businesses. This is the town that I live in Clitheroe, and up the high street we have lots of different small businesses. So here we have some examples of some restaurants and bars that have set up by put together, and they're just one shop. They don't have a chain of shops, and typically we'd think of small businesses as sole traders or partnerships, and the explanation of that will come up in other videos for you. Legal structure is what I'm talking about if you want to look at that. But we also have larger businesses. Oxfam's quite a large business, a large charity, and this is Fat Face, which is a large retailer, clothing retailer, and so you get lots of shops and different chains in different towns. And really, when we're thinking about large businesses, we're looking at private limited companies, so LTDs, public limited companies, PLCs, but legal structure video you'll want to watch if you want to see that one. We also have service sector businesses. So services are things that are created that cannot be stored. They're what we call intangible, so you can't touch them. So QEGS is an example of a business or an organisation that provides an intangible item, a service, because we're providing education. We also have manufacturing businesses. They're actually making goods, something tangible, something you can touch. So this is Jaguar Land Rover producing here. Agricultural businesses, so these are extracting and cultivating natural resources. We sometimes have, for-profit would be most of the businesses we've looked at, bar QEGS, they're not for-profit. And then we have some not-for-profit organisations, so charities are usually not-for-profit. We also have organisations that provide information and services, and we also have those like which is more of a consumer group to provide information, and they sometimes make complaints about businesses that they feel aren't following the law. So entrepreneurs, an entrepreneur is anyone that starts their own business. So these are the people that take on the risk to earn the reward, whatever that might be. So why set up a business? Most of my students say to earn rewards. So it could be profit. I've put a question mark there because it's not always profit. The reward could be something else. You might want to be your own boss because you might want to set your own schedule when you are going to work and what times of the day and how long you're going to work for. Although most people that set up businesses will find that they're working very, very hard. You might want to be your own boss so that you can control decisions and make the decisions of what products to offer, what markets to sell to, how to run the business. You might be very bored with your current job and you don't feel like you're getting many opportunities or developing your skills, or you just don't like the work really, and you want to be your own boss so you can decide on what type of work that you actually partake in. You might have an interest or a hobby. I think anyone that's setting up their own business or thinking about it, you are going to have to work very, very hard. So I would say that all of the people that set up their own businesses are doing it in areas that they have a passion for or an interest in. And that can often come from a hobby that they have. So if somebody maybe is really into cycling, they might set up their own bike shop. Or there might be a social aim. So social aim's really very interesting. We're going to look at that in a second. But you might want to have do some research about different entrepreneurs. So Richard Branson here. These are the people that set up Innocent Smoothies. I think they're called Right Bacon, I never know how to pronounce his name, and I've forgotten his other name, but you can Google them. Here's Mark Zuckerberg, founder of Facebook. We've got Anita Roddick here, who founded the Body Shop. Unfortunately, she did die a few years ago, but she led a very interesting life. Her husband actually founded The Big Issue. And then we've got an organisation here called Divine Chocolate. And the reason that I've put these two in here, The Big Issue and Divine Chocolate, is because they're examples of social enterprises. So this is, in the textbook, it defines it as an activity that achieves a reward for society. So it's based on their primary aim is not to make profit, but to be able to achieve a social or community goal. So we've got some examples here. Here's Jamie Oliver, who's very into setting up social enterprises as well as profit-making businesses as well. He set up 15, which is a restaurant that gives employment opportunities to 15 young people every year. I think there's more than that now that it's a bit bigger, but they take people who maybe have left school with very few qualifications and they train them to be chefs to give them better life opportunities, and they operate as a restaurant. So it's social enterprise really just means that any organisation that's run like a business, so it has a lot of similarities to normal profit-making businesses, but it actually, rather than the primary focus being profit, it has another focus, so to provide employment opportunities. Here we have Blackburn Youth Zone, a fantastic organisation based in Blackburn, and this is like a youth club, and they charge 50p admittance, so they're really not charging a high price to try and make profit. They're just trying to cover their costs, and they provide a place for young people to go in Blackburn and take part in creative, active opportunities as well. They've got a good website, so have a look at that. And then charities often we can consider them social enterprises as well. This is Mind, and they focus on providing help for people with mental health conditions, but also to educate people maybe that don't have mental health conditions about mental health conditions. They also look to raise money as well for those, as well as awareness, money for those causes and to fund those causes. So we've described what businesses are. We've definitely just described what a social enterprise is. Just be a little bit cautious with number 2 here. When we looked at that diagram, we just quickly went through some of the reasons, but the specification objectives says explain. So you would need to be able to say why someone would want to be their own boss, and give some details maybe about the rewards if they wanted to earn more rewards by setting up their business. What are those rewards? Why might they be able to earn more rewards? Those types of things.